everybody. How are you? Well, welcome to Story and Art and to tonight's premiere. I am glad to be with you, even if it is only through the video and not in live. As you know, I am off. Wow, this has just been such a fall. And I am currently in Oaxaca, Mexico. That's where I am for the Day of the Dead celebration, to photograph it and to experience the culture, to visit the churches and the villages and see the parades and photograph as much as I can and go to the graveyards and just experience a whole wonderful thing. And so while I'm gone, I am giving you some stories here and there from different things. Some will be about where I am and about the celebration I am. Others will be completely interspersed with a little bit of difference. And tonight, I have a book that I've wanted to read for some time, and it just seemed to fit tonight. I just think it's a great book. Some of the books that I've been reading recently, I have had a lot of different words in them in other languages, and I've kind of struggled with them and tried my best. And this book is no difference, although it's about names. And I don't know about you guys, but I didn't always like the name Gretchen. When I was in first grade, I told everybody, yes, my name is Gretchen, but call me Shirley. That's my middle name. And if you don't, I'll pound you. And I was tall and bigger than everybody, so they all called me Shirley. Confused. The teachers, my mom couldn't figure out why all kids were calling me Shirley. Yeah, well, that was why. Anyway, so I didn't always feel comfortable with my name. And then both my daughters have different names. Annalena, which is a name that we put together from grandparents and great grandmothers and whatnot. And then Bryn is equally as different, but shorter. And Bryn often got called Brian because people would see how it was spelled, and she would get all irritated with that. But names are different, and names are important. And the title of this book tonight is called The Name Jar, and it's by Young Suk Choi, and it is. I hope I got her name right, and if there's a little more in the book about her, I'll tell you at the end. But right now, I want to dive right into this book called The Name Jar. And the author and illustrator are the same, so it's really a beautiful type of book. Let's see if I get this right here. Oh, no, that's right, this way. Yep. To soon on leave, my mother, and thanks to Tracy and Michelle. Through the school bus window, Eunhye looked out at the strange buildings and houses on the way to her new school. It was her first day, and she was both nervous and excited. She fingered the little block of wood in her pocket and remembered leaving her grandmother at the airport in Korea. Her grandmother had wiped away Eunhye's tears and handed her an ink pad and a small red satin pouch. "Your name is inside," she had said. "My name?" Eunhye had wondered. Again she took out the red pouch to look at the wooden block, with her name carved in it, and she ran her fingers along the grooves and ridges of the Korean characters, and she pictured her grandmother's smile. "Is that thing for your show and tell?" a boy asked Eunhye, surprising her. Eunhye looked up as more kids leaned over. No, it's mine, Unhei answered, quickly putting the pouch back in her pocket. Are you new here? What's your name? A girl asked. Unhei, said Unhei. Unye? The girl asked, scrunching up her face. Une. Some kids chanted. No, Unhei corrected. It's spelled Unhei, but it's pronounced Unhei. Oh, it's hooyay, the boy said. Like, you hey, what about hey you? And just then, the bus pulled up to the school and the doors opened, and everyone hurried to get off, including Unhei. You hey, bye-bye, the kids yelled as she left, and Unhei felt herself blush. Unhei stood in the doorway of her new classroom, and it was noisy. She was relieved that the kids on the bus had gone to other rooms, but her face still felt red. Aren't you going in? Asked a curly-haired boy with lots of dots on his face. You're the new girl, right? He asked cheerfully. Unhei nodded, and before she could walk away, the boy took her hand and pulled her in through the door. Here's the new girl, he announced loudly as the teacher, Mr. Kokotos, almost dropped his glasses. Mr. Kokotos thanked him and greeted Unhei. Please welcome our newest student, he said to the class. She and her family just arrived from Korea last week. Unhei smiled broadly and tried not to show her nervousness. What's your name? Someone shouted. Unhei pictured the kids on the bus. I haven't picked one yet, she told the class, but I'll let you know by next week. Mr. Kokotos showed her to her desk. She felt many round, curious eyes on her. Why doesn't she have a name? She heard someone whisper. Maybe she robbed a bank in Korea and needs a new identity, a boy replied. On the bus home, nobody teased her, but Unhei kept thinking about her name. How was school, Unhei? Her mother asked when she walked in. Did you understand the teacher? Unhei simply nodded. She unpacked her school bag and set the red pouch by the photograph of her grandmother. I'm glad you are learning English well, her mother said. You must study hard, behave nicely, and get good grades to show that you are a good Korean. I will, replied Unhei. But I think I would like my own American name, she said quickly. Her mother looked at her with surprise. Why? Unhei is a beautiful name. Your grandma and I went to a name master for it. But it's so hard to pronounce, Unhei complained. I don't want to be different from all the American kids. You are different, Unhei, her mother said. That's a good thing. Unhei just wrinkled her nose. Later that day, Unhei and her mother went grocery shopping in the new neighborhood. They passed Fadil's Falafel, Tony's Pizza, and Dot's Deli. A big graffiti-painted garbage truck roared like a lion as it took off down the street. Nothing sounded or looked familiar until they got to Kim's Market, and the sign was both in English and Korean. Her mother picked up cabbage to make kimchi, Korean-style spicy pickled cabbage, and other vegetables and meat. She also found some seaweed, Unhei's favorite, for soup. It made Unhei smile. Just because we've moved to America, her mother said, doesn't mean we stop eating Korean food. At the checkout counter, a friendly man smiled at Unhei. Helping your mother with the shopping, he asked, and Unhei nodded. I'm Mr. Kim, he said, and what is your name? Unhei, she answered. Ah, what a beautiful name, he said. Doesn't it mean grace? Unhei nodded again. My mother and grandmother went to a name master for it, she told him. A graceful name for a graceful girl, Mr. Kim said as he put their groceries into bags. Welcome to the neighborhood, Unhei. That evening, Unhei stood in front of the bathroom mirror. Hi, my name is Amanda, she said cheerfully. Then she wrinkled her nose. Hi, my name is Laura. Maybe not. Her smile turned down. Nothing sounded right. Nothing felt right. I don't think American kids will like me, she worried as she began to brush her hair and brush her teeth. Ha-he, mom nem, sid shuji, she said in the mirror with a mouthful of toothpaste. The next morning, when Unhei arrived at school, she found a glass jar on her desk with some pieces of paper in it. Unhei took one out and read it aloud. Daisy. That's my baby sister's nickname, but she said you can use it if you want, said Cindy, who sat next to her. Unhei took out the rest of the paper. Tamela, she read. I got it from a storybook, said Nate. She was smart and brave. Unhei nodded and unfolded another. Wednesday? Yeah, you came here on a Wednesday, said Ralph. Thank you for your help. A smile spread over Unhei's face. Ralph quickly said, we'll put more names in. You can pick whatever you like, or pick them all, and you'll have the longest name in history. At 3:00, the bell rang for the end of the school day, and Unhei looked out the window and saw it was sprinkling. It's the same rain, she thought, but in a different place. And she watched the other kids leaving in groups. Hey! A familiar voice called out to her. Unhei turned around to see the curly-haired boy again. I'm Joey, he said, and don't you have any name? Unhei thought for a moment. Well, I can show you, she said, and she took out the small red pouch, and she pressed the wooden block on the ink pad and then stamped it on a piece of paper. This is my name stamp, she said. My grandma gave it to me. In Korea, I can use it as a signature when I open a bank account or write a letter, and whenever I miss my grandma, I use it to fill a piece of paper. Want to try it? And she offered the stamp to Joey, and he carefully inked the stamp and pressed it hard on the paper, and the red characters gleamed against the whiteness. Wow, that's beautiful, Joey said. Can I keep the paper? Sure, Unhei said. And then the two of them shared her umbrella as they walked out to the school bus. Every day the jar got fuller with more names, and Unhei read them all. She found a few names she liked. Miranda, Stella, Avery. They sounded interesting. I hope you choose the name I put in, Marco told her at snack time. I put in 3 more, said Ralph. Madison, Park, and Lex. They're my favorite street names. Maybe you should close your eyes and draw a name, Rosie suggested. Ralph frowned. That's silly. What if she gets a name she doesn't like the name she draws? Well, we didn't get to choose our names when we were born, did we? Rosie argued. Everybody thought about this. When Unhei got home from school that day, her little brother ran to give her a letter. It was from her grandma. She opened it quickly. It said, To my Unhei, I hope you are enjoying your new school and new friends. Be sure to help your mother and your little brother. Here the moon is up, but there the sun is up. No matter how far apart we are and no matter how different America is from Korea, you'll always be my Unhei, your grandma forever. Unhei took out her wooden stamp and filled the paper with it. She thought for a long time in front of the bathroom mirror. On Saturday, Unhei walked to Mr. Kim's store. Mr. Kim was helping a customer, but he looked up and greeted her. Hi, Unhei. Hello, Mr. Kim, Unhei replied, and she felt as if she was back in her old neighborhood in Korea. Hey, said the customer, turning around. It was Joey. Your name is Unhee? He asked, with his eyes open wide. Unhee looked quickly at Mr. Kim, then turned to Joey. She nodded slowly. Yes, it's pronounced Unhee. Unhee, said Joey slowly, and this time perfectly. It made Unhee smile. I'll have it ready for you tomorrow, said Mr. Kim to Joey. Thank you, Mr. Kim. See you Monday, Unhee, Joey said to her, and he left before she could ask him why he was at the store. On Monday, Unhee came to class early to look at the names one last time, but the jar wasn't on her desk. Instead, there was a single piece of paper with a name on it. Unhee slipped it in her pocket. Where's your name jar? Ralph asked as soon as he saw it was gone. I don't know, Unhee said. It wasn't on Mr. Kokoto's desk or on any other desk, and it wasn't on the counters or any of the shelves. As other kids arrived, they helped look. Soon Mr. Kokotos came in and Ralph shouted at him, The name jar is gone, the jar with all the names on it. Gone? Mr. Kokotos replied. With a look of concern, he asked Unhee, Did you get a chance to read all the names? Unhee nodded. She took a breath. I'm ready to introduce myself, she said. Unhee wrote her name in both English and Korean on the chalkboard. I like the beautiful names and funny names you thought of for me, she told the class, but I realized that I like my name best, so I chose it again. Korean names mean something. Unhee means grace. Grace! Grace Inhai, shouted Ralph. Everyone tried to say it. Yinyahe, Unhee, Unhee. Unhee said her name again slowly and clearly. Soon, the kids began to say it better. Even Mr. Kokotos. They applauded Unhee's choice. I was named after a flower, Rosie whispered to Unhee. Lots of American names have meanings, too, said Mr. Kokotos, and he reminded everyone. When the class was dismissed, Unhee heard her new friends say goodbye. Goodbye, Unhee. See you tomorrow. Goodbye, Unhee. Unhee said goodbye and then looked around for Joey, but he was already gone. Unhee, come downstairs, Mother called to Unhee. Your friend is here. Unhee rushed down to see who she meant. There stood Joey, and in his arms was the name jar. Where did you find it? Asked Unhee breathlessly. Joey looked embarrassed. Well, I took it, but only because I wanted you to keep your own name, and you did. And he reached in and pulled out the names. Do you want to keep them? He asked. Thank you. I'll keep them as a souvenir, Unhee said happily. And then she pulled out the piece of paper from her pocket. Do you want this back? Joey grinned. You keep it. I'll return the name jar to the class. Maybe you could put some Korean nicknames in it for us. Names with good meanings. I could do that, agreed Unhee. I've already got a Korean nickname, Joey said. Mr. Kim helped me choose it. And carefully, he pulled a small silver felt pouch from his pocket. Then he took out a dark wooden stamp and with beautiful Korean characters carved sharply into it. He pressed it on the ink pad and then on the piece of paper next to her name. Chinku, read Unhee. That means friend. And Chinku smiled back. And that's the story of the name jar. Oh, I love that story. I hope you guys did too. Yeah. It's just those different kinds of names, kids oftentimes have a hard time. And, her first reaction was to be embarrassed and to want to shirk away. But it only took a few friends to encourage her. And yeah, took one friend to encourage her. And I think that's great. Our names are something that we can be proud of, be special for, what it's named for, what we're named for, who, all that brings part of that heritage and remembering. And yeah, I'm right in the middle of a place that is immersed with remembering heritage and people and importance. And so that's why I wanted to share that book, The Name Jar. Anyway, you guys, thanks so much for being here and for being part of Story and Art. And I hope you enjoyed the story, and I'll be back tomorrow with another one. And until next time, keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. It's all around you, but the first place you'll find it is if you go look in the mirror. Take care.
All we need is a place to be and a few good friends for some company. If you'd like to stay, you don't have to leave. We'll leave the lights on and the door unlocked. If you drop on by, you don't have to knock. We're happy to share whatever we've got.